Right, on to the execution of your research strategy, the doing bit. Once you've worked out your research design, the logical next step is to put it into action and start collecting your data. Data collection could mean undertaking interviews, hosting an online survey, or any other data collection method. There are a variety of data collection methods, and the right approach depends on your research aims and objectives. But, a word of warning, data collection can take quite a bit of time, especially if you host in-person interviews. So be sure to factor sufficient time into your project plan for this. Often things don't go 100% to plan. For example, maybe you don't get as many survey responses as you had hoped for, so bake a little extra time into your schedule here. Once you've collected your data, you'll need to do some data preparation before you can sink your teeth into the analysis. For example, if you carry out interviews or focus groups, you'll need to transcribe your audio data to text, in other words, into a Word document. If you collect quantitative survey data, you'll need to clean up your data, usually in Excel, and get it into the right format for whichever analysis software you plan to use, like SPSS, R, or Stata. Once you've completed your data prep, you'll undertake your analysis using the techniques that you described in your methodology. Depending on what you find in your analysis, you might also do some additional forms of analysis that you hadn't planned for. For example, you might see something in the data that raises new questions or that requires clarification with further analysis. This is perfectly normal, so don't stress out if your data leads you down an unexpected path. The type of analysis you'll use depends on the nature of your research and your research questions. For example, if your research is exploratory in nature, you'll often use qualitative analysis techniques.